Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to the special meeting of the Asheville City Council for July 11, 2013. The purpose of this special meeting is to consider a matter relating to an employee of the city, and at this meeting it is anticipated that we will go in closed session, and we will actually do that in just a moment. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Councilman Pelley to read the closed session motion.
Mayor, I move that Asheville City Council go into closed session for the following reasons: to receive a final report on the investigation of a complaint, charge, or grievance against an individual public officer or employee. The statutory authorization is contained in GS 143-31.11A6. Second, to prevent the disclosure of information that is confidential pursuant to GS 160A-168, the Personnel Privacy Act. The statutory authorization is contained in GS 143-318.11A1. Third, to consult with an attorney employed by the city about matters with respect to which the attorney-client privilege between the city and its attorney must be preserved. The statutory authorization is contained in GS 143-318.11A3.
Second.
The motion has been made and properly second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. The motion carries. We will come back in here to reconvene as soon as the closed session is over. We're in closed session. Gary. Wait on Gary. I would like to call the Asheville City Council special meeting back to order for July 11, 2013. First I'm going to call on the interim city attorney, Martha McGlohan, to talk to us about the next step in this process.
Thank you, Mayor, members of City Council. As City Council members know, on the 25th day of June of 2013, Lieutenant William Wilkie with the Asheville Police Department held a press conference whereby certain allegations were made pertaining to an incident involving Police Chief William Anderson's son that occurred on March 9th of 2013. Lieutenant Wilkie also, in that press conference, made several allegations, and as a result of those allegations and the filing of two complaints with the city manager's office, the city manager directed staff to conduct an internal investigation. That internal investigation was performed by city staff, and city staff interviewed at least, if not more than 7 individuals, and invested over 20 hours in conducting the investigation. The investigation has now been completed, and in closed session, council was updated on the results of the final investigation. As council members know, under 160A-168, all personnel information of any city employee is considered confidential unless there is an exception. Under 160A-168C7, there is an exception that would allow city council, upon a written determination of the city manager that the release of certain personnel information is essential to the public confidence in a city service, that would allow city council to release that limited personnel information. So what the city manager is asking city council to do at this time is to concur with the city manager's determination that certain information from the final investigation be allowed to be released so as to ensure that the public confidence is continued to be maintained in an essential city service, that city service being the police department. In front of you is the resolution, and what I would ask, and attached to that resolution is attachment A, which is the city manager's written determination that it is essential that this information be released so as to maintain public confidence in a city service, primarily the police department. So what we're asking City Council to do is to first make a motion for the adoption of the resolution, and then, if council so chooses, the council can read the Exhibit A or the resolution.
Thank you, Ms. McGlohan. Council, is there a motion?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to, and I'm going to read the resolution, to adopt a resolution concurring in the city manager's release of personnel information. Whereas a lieutenant with the Asheville Police Department held a press conference on June 25, 2013, wherein he alleged that he felt coerced by his supervisors to, quote, submit to a set of facts and circumstances that were clearly false and misleading, end quote. And whereas the lieutenant also alleged that the statements from his supervisors were not in an investigative file, and whereas the city manager has conducted a thorough administrative investigation into the allegations made by the lieutenant, and the city manager has determined that the release of certain information covered by North Carolina General Statute 160A-168, the Personnel Privacy Act, is essential to maintaining public confidence in the administration of city services, as set forth in Exhibit A attached to the resolution. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Asheville that, pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 160A-168C7, the Asheville City Council hereby concurs with the city manager's release of certain personnel information contained in Exhibit A attached to the resolution, and to the extent any prior release of such information occurred, ratifies and concurs in said release.
Second.
The motion has been made and properly seconded. Council, I'm going to go with our normal rules. Any member of the community wishing to address council on this particular motion? Seeing none. Council, any further questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. The motion carries. And I'm going to read the Exhibit A that was referenced in the motion. It starts with the statement of the City of Asheville regarding allegations of coercion, cover-up, management, and employment-related concerns within the Asheville Police Department. The Asheville City Council takes tremendous pride in the men and women of the Asheville Police Department. They are a group of highly trained professionals and dedicated public servants reporting for duty around the clock, frequently risking their lives in service to this community. On Tuesday, June 25, 2013, a lieutenant from the department held a press conference wherein he alleged that he felt coerced by Chief William Anderson and Captain Stoney Gantz to quote, submit a set of facts and circumstances regarding the accident involving his son, the chief's son, that were clearly false and misleading, end quote. The lieutenant went on to allege that statements from Chief Anderson and Captain Gantz regarding the accident were not in the investigative file. The lieutenant also stated that the city manager and deputy city manager failed to act on his June 17th and June 24th complaints. The city manager and the city's chief administrator, as the chief city's administrator in charge of directing and supervising the administration of all city departments and making all employment-related decisions, has conducted a thorough investigation into the lieutenant's allegations. In accordance with advice from the interim city attorney, the city council is satisfied that, number one, any and all allegations made by the lieutenant regarding the SBI interview or missing documents from the SBI file are criminal matters regarding which the city defers to the judgment of the Buncombe County District Attorney. Number two, that any and all allegations made by the lieutenant regarding specific employees is confidential personnel information within the meaning of NCGS 168A-168 and may not be disclosed except as allowed by law. Additionally, the city manager has satisfied the city council that, number one, the lieutenant's grievance were handled timely and in accordance with the city personnel policies, and that number two, that as it pertains to the lieutenant's allegations of general operational and administrative concerns within the department, an action plan has been developed to work towards moving the department forward. The city manager will share an overview of this plan. As expressed by the city manager, there is concern about the accuracy and completeness of the information included in the lieutenant's public statement on June 25, 2013. More specifically, the city manager has indicated that the absence of a detailed response from the city to the specific allegations made by the lieutenant during the June 25, 2013 press conference will force the citizens of Asheville to accept the statements made by the lieutenant. As representative of the manner in which the city manages its employees and provides essential city services. Based upon the foregoing that the city manager has concluded, that the city council concurs that disclosure of certain personnel information surrounding the administrative investigation into the written allegations made by the lieutenant in accordance with NCGS 168-168C7 is essential to maintaining public confidence in city services, in particular, the services provided by the police department. Due to the constraints of the said statute, the city is not able to release a more detailed response. However, the following account should provide those citizens that have expressed concern about the allegations made by the lieutenant at the June 25, 2013 press conference and others a more accurate depiction. Between June 27, 2013 and July 9, 2013, city staff invested over 20 hours interviewing a number of city employees, including but not limited to Lieutenant William Wilkie, Chief Anderson, and Captain Gantz. The following limited findings of fact were derived from the interviews. Number one, on March 14, 2013, did Chief Anderson and Captain Gantz attempt to manipulate or coerce Lieutenant William Wilkie to, quote, submit to a set of facts and circumstances regarding the accident involving Chief Anderson's sons that were clearly false and misleading, end quote. The findings, no. Additionally, the city manager concurs with the district attorney's determination that no criminal laws were violated in the course of the investigation of the accident. Number two, on March 14, 2013, when the chief of police ordered Lieutenant Wilkie to his office, did the chief of police violate any city or departmental policies or procedures? Findings, while there are no city or department policies or procedures that address this issue, the conduct was not appropriate, and this issue has been addressed with Chief Anderson by his supervisor. The city acknowledges that the administrative investigation revealed that there are concerns within the department regarding general management practices, some of which commenced prior to the March 9, 2013 incident. Subsequent events following the March 19, 2013 incident exacerbated those concerns. In closing, the city takes very seriously its obligations to comply with the personnel privacy laws. Therefore, the city must refrain from disclosing additional information pertaining to the administrative investigation. It is hoped that the foregoing information will give the citizens of Asheville who have expressed concerns about the allegations made by the lieutenant at the June 25, 2013 press conference sufficient information to make a more informed opinion regarding the same, thereby causing the public to maintain confidence in the city's administration of city services, particularly those services provided by the police department. And that's a statement provided to the community from personnel files. At this time, I'm going to call on the city manager, Gary Jackson.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. First, I want to start by saying thank you for concurring with City Management's request to release personal information related to the investigation of Lieutenant Wilkie's grievances. In terms of transparency and openness in government, this action clearly goes above and beyond. What am I going to try to accomplish with my report today? The goals of this report are to address the public confidence, the subject of your resolution and your statement today, by sharing the findings and conclusions within the limitations of the law that you have been advised of by the city attorney. I want to go over the outline, the timeline for Lieutenant Wilkie's grievances and review that in light of the Asheville City personnel policies, which are available to all our employees, including Lieutenant Wilkie. I also want to assure the City Council and the general public that management fully supports the men and women of the Asheville Police Department, and plans are going to be in place to move this department forward. This is a grievance timeline, and there are two things that are important for you to see here. On the far left-hand column, you see the employee action. In the middle, you see the policy directive, the framework that exists in our employee handbook and guidelines for grievances. And on the far right column, you see the actual city response. This has been referred to as action or inaction by Mr. Wilkie. First employee action was March 13th. Lieutenant Wilkie visits the city manager's office. No formal response was requested or necessary under the policy for this open-door meeting. What was the city management's response at that time? Deputy City Manager Jeff Richardson and I spent in excess of an hour with Lieutenant Wilkie, and we can share with you that direction was given that the department would fully cooperate with the State Bureau of Investigation report and investigation that would take place. That had been called for, in fact, on the afternoon of March 12th. So we were able to assure Lieutenant Wilkie that there was a criminal investigation. It would be inappropriate for us to launch an administrative investigation at that point in time. Okay. Between March 13th and July 17th, we had no contact with Lieutenant Wilkie regarding any of these matters of the grievance. On July 17th, as has been well reported, we received a formal complaint, a grievance, from Lieutenant Wilkie. Per the policy, the city manager has 15 days in order to respond to the July 17th complaint. On July 21st, the city's response was to confirm receipt. A letter and an email was sent to...
And these should be June.
Correct.
Good catch.
Correct. June is correct. These dates are June. We'll get a revised one of this and get it up. So then on June 21st, Lieutenant Wilkie received a response that, in fact, his June 17th complaint would be acted upon, an investigation would occur, and it would be led by Deputy City Manager Jeff Richardson and HR Director Kelly Dickens. The policy related to that calls for a response and completion of that investigation within 30 days from its receipt, June 27th. In fact, the formal response was sent to and delivered to Lieutenant Wilkie today, and we met face-to-face yesterday, and I advised him that would occur today, and that has occurred. So he has received a response, a written response, which you're taking the opportunity to share in summary today, well in advance of the required timelines. Now let me go through the allegations and the response to them. The first allegation is that Chief Anderson and Captain Gauntz attempted to manipulate or coerce Lieutenant Wilkie. Additionally, he requested statements from Chief Anderson and Captain Gauntz regarding the accident be made available to him as part of the investigative file. Findings, as you read, Mayor, there's no finding of coercion in this case. We, as you also indicated, spent over 3 hours with Lieutenant Wilkie and his attorney to confirm that we did not have any additional facts, additional evidence to support the allegation of coercion. So what is on record, what's on file with the State Bureau of Investigation and with us leads us to this conclusion and this finding. Second point of finding regarding this allegation is that there are no city or departmental policies or procedures on specific point of how to address the action of the chief, which was to order Lieutenant Wilkie to his office on March 14th. It is my conclusion that this conduct, nonetheless, was inappropriate. This issue has been addressed with Chief Anderson and will be a performance matter for us to address in accordance with state statute and our personnel policies. Administrative review number 2. The allegation that there are operational administrative concerns pertaining to specific employees. Our findings are that allegations by the lieutenant regarding specific employees is a confidential personnel matter and does not rise to the criteria which we can share with you today. We can share with you our findings with regard to the allegation of coercion or lack of follow-up or action by the city organization and how that relates to city's policies, but this is a matter that's governed by NCGS and may not be disclosed by us. His reference to personnel files of other employees. Third allegation is general operational administrative concerns within the Asheville Police Department. The critical finding here is that the organizational performance of the police department, all our departments, are guided by the council's strategic operating plan, and each department has a business plan with a set of specific goals. As you know, quarterly we report what those goals are and what accomplishments are made against those. In light of the findings of this administrative investigation, we will task the command staff with going through these specific findings, the very detailed findings that the investigative committee went through, and to look to review and modify goals accordingly within the business plan of the department. Our intent would be to improve communication, reduce friction between key employees and the command staff, and to provide clear direction and communication on an ongoing basis. So in summary, these are the correct dates. Between June 27th and July 9th, city staff invested over 20 hours interviewing relevant employees and reviewing all the information provided by Lieutenant Wilkie. This information is being shared today in accordance with state statute and is essential to maintaining confidence in the city services, particularly the police department. Due to the constraints of this statute, the release of personnel record is limited to what we were able to provide with you today. In summary, aggressive and effective steps are being taken to address the operational and administrative concerns within the department. Our focus is on promoting unity, cohesion, and the integrity of the department. I must qualify this by saying that changes originating with new and long-standing department leadership invariably result in organizational stress and conflicts. We all know this from our work experiences, whatever organization we work in. New department director appointments, new operational emphasis and priorities, relocations of resources, staff reassignments, and so forth add stress to these relationships. Change is hard. Additionally, budget and fiscal challenges, cost-saving strategies, re-engineering, as well as economic and legislative trends can and do compound friction between employees and supervisors, particularly at this time at the City of Asheville. However, these effects are common during periods of change in both private and public organizations. Our organization and Asheville Police Department can be no exception to that. City management is committed to providing the resources to better equip our employees and tools to manage the change that is necessary to succeed as an organization. Finally, I am confident in the police department's ability to move forward. We have excellent, dedicated people who day in, day out put themselves on the line for us and accomplish great things. Just so that it's clear to the community, I know council's aware of this, I just want to lay out the reporting relationships because there's another key action step that I think I want to highlight for you. First, this is the city organizational chart, and as you see, your appointments are the city attorney, the city manager, and city clerk. And then the organizational structure and lines of responsibility call for a deputy city manager, Jeff Richardson, to be over fire, police, human resources, finance, parks, general services, water, and information technology. Likewise, executive director Kathy Ball is over economic development and transportation departments. This is helpful for you to see the lines of communication and accountability. This is very difficult for you to see. It is the Asheville Police Department organizational chart. The main reason why I want to show this is to show that the reporting relationships, the direct supervisor of the police chief is Deputy City Manager Jeff Richardson. Below the chief is a Deputy Police Chief, and there are 3 captains over the 3 divisions: Administrative Services Division, Criminal Investigations, and Patrol. Those are the 3 divisions. They're overseen by captains. Below those 3 captains, to carry out those divisions' responsibilities are lieutenants, sergeants, senior officers, and so forth. In order to reduce friction in the department and to move forward constructively, set the stage for organizational development, I will be instructing Chief Anderson today that the captains will need to be rotated, that Captain Gauntz will no longer be over the division he is over today and will no longer continue in his supervisory role in relationship to Lieutenant Wilkie. I believe that's the decision of the chief to decide which captain to rotate into that role and where Captain Gauntz should be reassigned within the department. But I feel that this is absolutely essential to move forward at this crossroads. I also want to highlight that while in periods of change there is stress and there may be friction, the Asheville Police Department is doing a stellar job. In terms of the business plan, in terms of the quarterly reports we've been giving you, I think it's been evident that over the past year this department has moved forward and made great strides. I want to highlight those just for a moment. Because as we started this conversation, this is about public confidence that the police department is effective and efficient in doing its job. It's under capable leadership. Crime decrease. From July to March 2013, violent crime citywide decreased by 9%. Public housing unit We have a partnership that's been advanced by the manager of the Housing Authority and Chief Anderson. It's producing great results. 12% decrease in overall public housing crime, 16% decrease in property crime in the public housing units. Downtown unit. We have focused on making our downtown safer. The downtown unit is doing an extraordinary job under the direction and supervision of the police command staff. Changing Together is an important partnership, as you know, which is aimed at halting drug use and drug sale in the neighborhoods. This is a state-funded program, a partnership, city, county, and community, and it's moving forward with great success. We've reported that success to you before. A major emphasis of the department is to build relationships with the youth in our community. You're seeing more and more community presence by our police officers, building relationships, not only in school, by the school resource officers, but also out in other opportunities in the community. At this point, I can't tell you enough about the bravery, the commitment, and the ongoing dedication of the Asheville police officers. And I know that that will continue. I'm very excited about moving forward with this plan. In the next 30 days, I will be challenging Chief Anderson as well with coming up with a specific organizational development plan. We will assist him by bringing in outside resources, former police chiefs, advisors that we typically do in development of these organizational development plans that will be participative and inclusive of officers and other command staff, the entire command staff in the department. And that will, at its completion, with action steps for organizational development, will be a public document that we will share with the Public Safety Committee of Council so that you retain that accountability and oversight in our improvement program. And with that, I'll answer any questions council may have.
Just need to be very clear. Do we still have a chief of police, and is his name Chief Anderson?
That's correct. Chief Anderson is chief of the police department.
Okay, counsel. That's all we have, Ms. McGlone. You've covered all the issues that need to be addressed.
Yes.
All right, meeting adjourned.